back on Closer Look on this 16th day of July, 2025. It's a Wednesday with Michael Friscolanti, editor-in-chief here at Village Media. I'm Scott Sexsmith. Great program last night, and the feedback on employees being mandated back to the office has been extraordinary.
I told you it was going to be a talker. It was definitely a talker. People have strong opinions on whether they should be allowed to work at home.
Well, not only that, but opinions on whether or not the pandemic is over.
Yes.
Which was also interesting to read. Yeah. I pulled a couple of comments, and I'd like to read them for you if I could, from OTH28. Great username. Companies have every right to request that people are at the office. This doesn't make them any less than a company that doesn't. They just get to choose to run their business how they see fit. People have the right to choose to work at these companies or not. It's as simple as that.
Makes
sense. Not wrong.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense.
And but for the record, the pandemic is over. COVID still exists, but we're not in the middle of a global pandemic anymore.
As usual, you are correct. From Blue Days out of Sudbury, I find this whole negotiating thing ridiculous. Employer says back to work, you go back to work. Don't want to? Find an employer who will let you work from home. Simple or quit. All right. From Guelph, working from home occasionally is good. Give staff a break from the office noise and can concentrate more on work, save some gas, and have more time when eliminating travel time. A shared rotation is nice to break it up. That makes sense.
Yeah, I see that argument too. I see that argument too.
Yeah. And finally, from Aurelia, I'm super chatty and easily distracted by my coworkers. I love to talk. At home, there is no one to talk to, no discussions to find myself a part of. I am so much more productive at home. I also don't have to wear pants.
Is that what they said, really?
Can't make it up.
Is that your username?
For the record, I am wearing pants. So there you go.
Yeah,
and the comments continue to roll in.
It's definitely a talker. And we've seen it because, like you said, the financial sector's ordering people back to work. The government, there was some big news a few months ago with the federal government ordering people back to work more time in the office than they have been before. It's an endless discussion, I think, too, as we talked about with the real estate aspect too, where there's still so many commercial buildings in big cities that used to be leased by the government or by other big companies. So this is going to continue to unfold, I think, over the next few years.
It certainly will. Okay, big day here for us at Village Media as site number 27 has been unveiled.
Very exciting. DundasToday.com, the 27th local news site owned and operated by Village Media. Our company that began here in Sault Ste. Marie with Sault Today is now 27 local news sites, as well as a number of other specialty sites like the Trillium at Queen's Park, Parliament Today on Parliament Hill. This is wonderful for us. We love to be in communities where we know the people are very engaged and care a lot about the place where they live. And Dundas is definitely one of them. I grew up next door in Hamilton.
You did, yeah. The Hammer.
I had family in Dundas, went there a lot. If you are from Dundas, you're proud of being from Dundas. It's a community you care about. Yeah. They have a beautiful downtown core. The homeowners love where they are. Great schools. And I think it's fair to say a very engaged populace. Like, people care about what's happening, whether it's a development there or something going on. The Cactus Festival is their big annual event in August.
What is that?
It's a big, it's just like a big street festival, right? Okay. And you could read it on Dundas Today, but I think it had something to do. It was originally sponsored or originally had something to do with a greenhouse in town. So it was called the Cactus Festival. I hope someone calls to correct me if that's wrong, because we're going to have some new listeners and viewers in Dundas tonight, because the site will be up on Dundas Today. And for those people in Dundas who need to know, this podcast runs every night across the Village Network, every weeknight at 7 o'clock. So yeah, very, very excited. I mean, it's close to home. It's probably the closest home. When we launched Flamborough, which is also part of Hamilton, but I didn't live closer. I lived closer to Dundas. Still have family and friends who live there, and I think it's a great addition. A shout out as well to Brenda Jeffries, our editor there.
Right. Yep.
She already runs Flamborough. She's taken the reins of this news site in Dundas. Karen Nickerson, who's a reporter in Flamborough, is going to be doubling her time now in Dundas, as well as our newest hire there, Regan Spencer, who just so happened to be an intern in Cambridge for us. Did some great work, and we hired her. So we have Brenda running the show, Kara and Regan doing the reporting there, and it's going to be a great addition, I think.
All right. Welcome to the family. Number 27, DundasToday.com. All right. Today on the program, it was 44 years ago. Man, it's hard to believe that Terry Fox passed away, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with Terry's younger brother, Darrell.
Yeah, Darrell just finished his own trek across Canada with a team of cyclists, 7,000 kilometers. Yeah. They went sort of to honor Terry and to raise more money for cancer research. And, I did a lot of kind of cramming last night, just doing some reading on Darrell and Terry. I mean, obviously we all know Terry. He's a legendary figure, an iconic figure in Canada. But I didn't really know everything about it. I didn't know what a great athlete he was as a young kid. I didn't know, and if I read this correctly, that he was in chemo for more than a year when he had diagnosed with that cancer and had to have his leg amputated. And he really came up with this idea and was determined that he was going to run across the country. And there was people who didn't think it was a good idea, right? And that he did it on this leg where, the medical technology wasn't the same as it was today. It's pretty new stuff. But just the dedication, it really, I guess I understood it, knew it, but didn't really until I did some more reading. And of course, Darrell, his younger brother, joined him partway through his marathon of hope and was there with him along the way. And it'd be great to talk to him about those experiences, those memories, but also what he did with his own biking marathon here and what it meant to him to be able to get across country and kind of finish what Terry started.
Terry Fox's Marathon of Hope started on the 12th of April back in 1980 in St. John's and ended September the 1st, 1980 in Thunder Bay. In all 143 days, Terry ran over 5,300 kilometers. Terry, unfortunately, losing his battle to cancer on the 28th of June, 1981 at the age of 22. We are very pleased to have with us on the program tonight Terry's brother, Darrell. Darrell, we appreciate the time tonight. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
We've got lots of questions, Darrell, obviously, but let's start with how are you feeling? You and your team just finished biking across the country. Congratulations. You must be exhausted.
I am a little fatigued, but I'm really proud and content right now. It was I've had a few days to process what we just experienced over the last 32 days, and it's going to take a few more weeks. So it was an incredible adventure. I was reflecting a lot on 1980. I had the gift of being the third member of the Marathon of Hope, and I spent 3 months in a very stinky Ford van. Didn't replicate that memory this time around. We were in nice, cozy hotel rooms most of our journey, but there's just so much to process. And again, I'll be spending the next weeks and months trying to remember it all.
Yeah, and we certainly want to get into the Marathon of Hope and some of the details surrounding that, Darrell. But to the bike ride, tell us about it. How long had it been in the works?
Well, in a previous life, I used to run a lot. I don't know where I got that idea from, but with not running related injuries, but other lateral sport injuries, I had ACL reconstruction. So about 15 years, I transitioned to the bike because I always had this desire to sweat and be physically active. So about 10 years ago, we did a fundraising ride. It was the 35th anniversary of the Marathon of Hope, and we were planning to do a fundraising hike up Mount Terry Fox in Valemount, BC. And I said to a friend, well, we have to get there. Why don't we ride? Okay, it's the 35th anniversary. Why don't we ride 350K? So we rode 350K, and 4 other friends joined us, and we just really loved the experience, and we thought we were onto something. So the next year, we added 10K for the 36th anniversary. We called it the Terry Fox 360, and we started fundraising. And so it was that idea that prompted maybe one day, maybe I'll ride across the country. COVID got in the way for the 40th anniversary 5 years ago. So we planned a lot at that point to do it. And about a year ago, we started to really work on making this happen this time around.
Like Scott said, it's an amazing thing. I wonder, as you're prepping to do that, you're obviously doing some training, I assume. Is there a moment where you say to yourself, okay, I think I can do this? Because you don't really know if you can do it until you actually take off and start going.
That's a good question, Michael. I don't think I ever got to the point that I felt that I could do it. Mm-hmm. There was always this question of, well, can I? I think I can, despite all the riding I do. And I in BC, we have a luxury where we can ride pretty well 12 months of the year. So I was out there, in the fall of last year and in the winter months of this year riding. But I still didn't have this question of whether I could do it. And, we wanted it to be Terry Fox hard. Terry ran 143 days, as you mentioned, on an artificial leg. So we only rode for 32 days in a row, but we had no days off, and we averaged 220 kilometers a day. So, yeah, it was difficult and very challenging, but I have an asset on my side. I have Terry Fox, so
Yeah.
he was within me for every pedal stroke, and there's no way I was quitting.
So, Darrell, Terry went from east to west, and you and your team went from west to east. Why was that?
Yeah, I didn't want anything to anyone to suggest that we were replicating what Terry did, because you can't, right? So that's why I chose to head east. Also, guess what? There's a chance of a tailwind. So whereas Terry ran into the wind, we had many days when we had this incredible tailwind, and when you ride a bike, that's a really good thing. It makes things a lot easier, and you're much faster riding as well.
That's a great point. One of the stories that really caught my attention, was obviously very emotional for you, was when you stopped near Thunder Bay at the Terry Fox Memorial. I'm assuming you've been there before, but just I looked at some of the images, some of the photos of that. Just such a powerful moment. Can you put that into words? What that meant when you guys stopped there?
Yeah, that was. So I'm going to get emotional already over that day. It was, I'd circled that date on the calendar since the beginning, and it was. I was actually thinking of maybe parking the bike on that day. Whether I didn't know whether I could get by Thunder Bay, because it was not a very good day in 1980 on September 1st when Terry was to stop running.
Yep.
But it was something happened that morning. And I was still questioning what I might do. But that morning we got up, and it was torrential rain, thunder and lightning, and we had 100 plus K to drive back to where we'd finished riding the night before. And as we rode back, we weren't in a very good frame of mind for this incredible day. Mm-hmm. But then as we stopped the vehicle and got out, the rain stopped. And all of a sudden, a headwind became a tailwind. And for me, that was a sign. I thought that was a sign that Terry said, okay, I'm making it easy for you. You must keep going. So, and it was an incredible ride into, and then we had a large group of people that were gathered, at the monument. It was incredibly emotional for all of us, because I'm only one member of the team. There's been others who had found their way to Thunder Bay as well. And from that point on, that was day 15. I had 17 more rides ahead of me. It was all downhill. It was easy after that.
I assume that's an amazing story. I assume you feel your brother's presence often throughout your life. I can't imagine. Is that the strongest you felt him there that day?
I would say so, Michael. It is true. This is who I am. I'm at times I'm Darrell Fox, but most of the time I'm Terry Fox's brother. And so he's there every day. Mm-hmm. There are days, certain anniversary days, that he's around more often, but certainly that day in Thunder Bay, also the finish too in St. John's, was incredibly emotional and powerful. And what made it more powerful and emotional was having the opportunity to share with 7 people who, before this ride began, were just people I knew, but they became, almost family members, incredibly close friends. We had to be, and we did. We bonded in an incredible way, and to be able to share it really added to the feeling I had in Thunder Bay and also in St. John's.
Darrell, let's go back in time if we can. How old were you when Terry embarked on his marathon of hope, and what do you remember from it?
I was 17. So 17 at the time, final year of high school. I saw it as a get out of school free card. So I was able to graduate early, and I missed the first 50 days of the Marathon of Hope, but I joined up in St. John, New Brunswick, and was there for 93. Mm-hmm. And, I would have to say that's why I'm so focused on remembering what we just experienced, because in 1980, and what happened left me questioning lots of things about life, and it just didn't seem fair that what happened to Terry. So instead of embracing the Marathon of Hope, I ran away from it for many years. Mm-hmm. So I've lost a lot of memories, but I still have that that incredible feeling of remembering being on this side of the road, or in the van watching Terry run, but more than that, watching a nation watch my brother run. Mm-hmm. And that's a memory that's instilled in my brain and will be there for forevermore. It was an incredible feeling and experience. And during this ride, I had that opportunity to really rekindle some of those memories because of the people that I met, certainly post Thunder Bay, that were there in 1980. One particular story I recall, we were just outside Espanola and someone was on the side of the road and he yelled, "I was here in this exact same spot 45 years earlier." That was so incredible to have.
That is unbelievable.
Story shared.
It's interesting, Darrell, that you mentioned that. I had the pleasure of seeing your brother in 1980. I was driving from my house in Toronto to my grandmother's house in Woodstock, Ontario. And along the highway, we could see the flashing lights of the old-style OPP Cruiser. And there was your brother. It was pouring rain. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And you talk about an image being ingrained in your brain forever. I can see it as vividly today as I did that day back in 1980. What a sight.
Yeah, and those, Scott, those are the stories that I heard throughout this ride. Were people who were, and I'm a sponge for Terry Fox stories at the best of times. And this was next level, all the stories I was hearing of those that saw Terry run in 1980.
When you look back on those times, Darrell, obviously you're living a moment in history that we now know was so historic.
Yeah.
Did you know it at the time, or did you see it progressing as the weeks went by? Did you realize just how big this was?
Yeah. So, again, I was young. I was only 17.
Yeah.
But I really had this sense that this was pretty significant. So I was able to find some maturity and wisdom to recognize that. And I think it comes from what I witnessed before. Like Terry ran over 5,000 kilometers preparing for the Marathon of Hope. So he was ready for this run. And to see him that first day in St. John, New Brunswick, and just the commitment and dedication and determination that was there, that was even more there at that point, because he was now fulfilling this dream and goal that he'd had for so long. It just felt like this is something that would be remembered for quite some time. I mean, I'm a younger brother, so I idolized his older brother. So there's that plays into this. But I just really felt like I was witnessing something that would be remembered for quite some time.
Darrell, when you think of all of the people that you spoke to on your journey, and there were so many, what stories stick out the most?
Well, this twofold there, which we've just been talking about, those that saw Terry in 1980. And the second was the number of people that I met, young people that I met who have had the same form of cancer that Terry had, osteogenic sarcoma. And the number of people that I met that are alive today. So that was incredibly powerful, because that's why Terry ran across the country, was to raise money and to find the answers to the disease that is cancer. And that was the proof that it has been worthwhile, the investment has made a difference. On the other side of things, I did meet those that have had the same form of cancer, not those, but family members that have lost their lives. So that is still ongoing. So there's still work to be done. But, the fact that Terry would likely live today if he were diagnosed, would likely not have an amputation if he were diagnosed today, for me is incredibly powerful. And it makes every dollar raised in his name worthwhile.
Absolutely. We were just talking about that earlier, Darrell. And I don't talk about this a lot, but I'll share my story because I'm one as well. I've been dealing with cancer for 7 years. I originally had renal cancer. They removed my kidney. It metastasized to my pelvic region, so it became like a bone cancer. And they moved heaven and earth to keep me alive. And I think of the money that the impact that Terry Fox had, I 100% believe directly impacted my ability to stay alive and to keep me going and doing what I'm doing. And I thought about that actually as I was going through months and months of different surgeries and treatments. And to be a young man like him at his age and to have that kind of drive to do something for other people and have that kind of impact, it's truly unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So I obviously never met him, but I'm grateful for what he's done, because I think it has made a difference not only for me but for countless other Canadians.
That's a great story, Michael. And I don't have the answer to. I thought this ride would help answer some questions about the how. Like, I know the why.
Mm-hmm.
I know why Terry ran across the country. It's because of what he witnessed going through chemo. But I don't know the how. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
I have more questions than answers now, because it was hard. As I said earlier, it was hard. 32 days. We were up at 7 a.m. We started riding at 7 a.m. Terry started running at 5 a.m. We rode 32 days in a row. Terry ran for 143 days in a row. Like, I could keep going.
Yeah. It's insane. It's insane.
We had no time. We had absolutely no time. And yet Terry was much more of a figure than we were.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it.
Yeah.
And I'll then spend the rest of my life trying to answer that question of how.
I couldn't agree more. You mentioned earlier about being Darrell Fox, but also being Terry Fox's brother. I don't know the right way to ask this question, but it's quite a responsibility, I would think, to be Terry Fox's brother. What has that been like for you, and try to keep his legacy going and the important work he was doing?
I'm not gonna say it hasn't been easy, because it has been difficult. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. I have to talk about Terry all the time, and it's not easy, because you're dealing with loss.
Yep.
But communicating and sharing is part of the healing process. So I learned to accept that. 35 years ago, when I became more engaged and involved with the work of the foundation. I just try. And I think, again, I think Terry leads us. Like, that's how I look at where we are today. And I think we're successful because we follow his I think, very important and unique values in terms of how we engage. You won't see any major brand associated with the Terry Fox Foundation. We keep it clean, because Terry believed in promoting one thing only, and that was cancer research. So I think when all of those out there who in the early years felt that, this may not last, I think we proved to everyone that Terry's vision and leadership it does work. And so that, that's what keeps me engaged, is I know I'm one of many too. Like, what did Terry say in 1980? I'm only one member of the Marathon of Hope. I'm equal with all of you. That's how we function. That's how we operate. We're all equal. I sometimes am in a different position, but I recognize that without an incredible team of people and supporters and Terry Foxers, as we call them, who organize and volunteer for the run, without them, we wouldn't be anywhere. So.
And the run, Darrell, the annual run has raised an astounding amount of money, somewhere around $1 billion, give or take. If people want to donate today, how can they do that?
Yeah, terryfox.org is the place to be. You'll actually find our ride. We surpassed our goal of 1.1 or $1 million. We're at 1.1 million, so you can still support one of the riders or register for the run in September. It's just around the corner, September 14th. So participate and raise some pledges online for the run coming up.
Amazing. So is your ride going to be an annual affair, you think?
Michael.
I can smack him for you, Darrell.
If you do, we have a place you could stay in Sault Ste. Marie that's probably nicer where you stayed. Let us know.
Okay, great.
We'll hook you up. Darrell, it's a beautiful thing that you did to honor your brother. His legacy will live on forever, and beautiful picture as well over your shoulder.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, and thanks for all you've done.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. It was great.
We've had a lot of important, meaningful conversations, not just on this new show, but on Inside the Village and other things that we've done. I don't know if I've ever gotten that emotional in an interview.
I was just thinking the same thing in terms of how powerful that conversation was.
Yeah.
It was just great. And, Darrell, has had a huge weight on his shoulders. Just listening to him talk his whole life, right? Like he idolized his older brother. His older brother did something that is just it's indescribable, really. Like what the impact he's had on the country and how well he's remembered for that impact. And just to see how he's carried that torch and tried to keep working so hard with the foundation and with the work that he does to keep that story going and to talk about his personal connection to it. Obviously, it's emotional. I mean, he's shedding tears multiple times, right? But even still, in his accomplishment, it's amazing, right? To ride, like we were joking, but I wouldn't be able to ride down the street.
Oh, God, no.
7,000 kilometers. And, just that little detail, too, that he went in the opposite direction as brother did. He didn't want to be seen to be replicating. It was a different journey, a different fundraising trip, and I found that extremely powerful. But I did look at like the photos when they got to the memorial near Thunder Bay. Just hugely emotional, right? Just very emotional.
I can't imagine what went through his head as Darrell and his team departed Thunder Bay, knowing that his brother didn't get that opportunity. I just can't imagine the weight of that.
100%. And then like interesting too, I talked about how after Thunder Bay would have been then going through the turf that his brother had already run.
Exactly.
So seeing all the people like you reminiscing about seeing him and people talking to him. The guy in Espanola, I mean, how many times have we driven by Espanola? I could totally picture the guy standing there saying he's there. Yeah, it's an unbelievable story. And again, I think we talked about it off the air after, or maybe we did talk about it on, but to try to quantify what Terry's impact has been, like to actually say like what that almost $1 billion in money for cancer research, what impact that had, whether it was how quickly it moved a piece of treatment along, or how it created opportunities to develop another treatment. Who knows? But when you get to the other place on the other side, it'd be an amazing question to ask, right? Like what was the impact that this person had? And just to finish off, just also remembering that this was a 20-year-old kid, right? Young kid, like
absolutely
20 years old, and to have that kind of drive to do something, and again, it wasn't for him; it was to raise money for other people. It's there's a reason why he's so well remembered.
Because at 22, that kind of thing never would have.
No, it's not even on your radar, right? And I guess we need to go through the experience he did. But it's an unbelievable thing, and I'm glad we got to have that conversation. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And again, if you'd like to make a donation, it was terryfox.org.
I believe that's what it was.
And the run is coming up in September. So whatever community you're in, make sure that you and your friends and family sign up. It's a wonderful cause. Closer look at villagemedia.ca if you'd like to reach out to any questions, comments about this show or any other. We'd love to hear from you also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and of course across the Village Media Network and wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And we hope that ours is one of them.
Including Dundas Today?
Including DundasToday.com, number 27. For Beautiful. Michael Friscolanti, Editor-in-Chief here at Village Media, I'm Scott Sexsmith. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 on Closer Look.
Frisco and Scott's Wardrobe provided in part by Moores, Sault Ste. Marie.